Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So welcome back everybody to this wonderful session, this wonderful journey of self-discovery. This journey of self-discovery is progressing ahead under the shelter of Lord Krishna, under the shelter of the Bhagavad Gita. And my name is Acyuta Arjunasakha. I am a teacher at ISKCON Whitefield, and I'm very, very happy to welcome all of you again to the session 2 of this Gita course. Today's session is all about coming up with solutions in life. We all have some problems. Without any exceptions, we all have some problems. So how do we solve these problems? Do we do some slipshod work? Do we make a patch-up solution? Or do we make a perfect solution? If at all we talk about the perfect solution, do we even know how to arrive at the perfect solution? What is the definition of a perfect solution? If you are constantly battling with some problems, and if you always find yourself at the crossroads to decide which path should I take to resolve this problem? Is every problem solvable? Should we even try to solve all the problems? If you have such questions in your mind, then this session is specifically very, very beneficial for you. Because life is all about dealing problems. In fact, it is not about just solving the problems, but it is about the consciousness, or it is about the way or the attitude in which you deal with those problems. So in today's session, we are going to discuss, do we do patch-up solutions or do we do perfect solutions? Welcome, everybody. If you can hear me clearly and if you can see me properly, can you please raise your hands to confirm? Thank you very much. Can you please lower your hands now? And I will just share my screen, and like every other session, we will begin this session also with Kirtan. Kirtan is a very divine way to invoke the presence of the Lord. We want the association of the Lord, and we want to take shelter of his lotus feet. So I'll again share my screen. You're able to see my screen. Requesting all to be on mute, please. Yes. So the title for today's session is Patch-up Solution, a Perfect Solution. And then we start today's session with the Kirtan, which I'm displaying on the slides. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Vashachadi Chakarine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Vashachadi Chakarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Yuga Dharma Harinam Sankirtan Yajna Ki Jai. Bhagavad Gita, the divine song of God. And this session is dedicated to His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who is my spiritual grandfather and also the founder Acharya of ISKCON. Everything which we speak, discuss, and talk about in these sessions is basically what we have learned from Srila Prabhupada, from his lectures, from his books, and from his pure followers. So I would like to dedicate today's session for the pleasure of the teachers, the pure teachers who are in line with the Guru Shishya Parampara, who are in a bona fide chain of disciplic succession, who are engaged in selflessly preaching the science of Godhead, the science of Bhagavad Gita, without any personal interpretations or motivations. To those who are engaged in the preaching and expansion of the science of God, the science of Bhagavad Gita, as it is, I would like to offer this session for their pleasure today by chanting some pranam mantras. Those who know these pranam mantras, they can repeat with me. Those who don't, they can try to hear it and try to absorb that sound vibration. This sound vibration is gratitude personified. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtham Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yutapad Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshtarine Mukam Karoti Vachalam Bangam Langhayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Harihi Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna. Patch-up solution or perfect solution. The agenda for today. First, let's do a little bit of recap. And then we'll see how war is inevitable. One may be thinking, I'm in the comfort of my home apartment. I'm not going to war. I'm not facing the bullets. I'm not facing a difficult situation in life. But still, is war inevitable? Is expertise and organization the cause of success? What is the actual cause of success? Little bit of introduction to Lord Krishna. And finally, we will conclude. What should we do? Should we do a patch-up solution? Or should we strive for a perfect solution? And the practical tip of the day, which can make your life happy. So, let's begin with the recap. So, in the previous session, we saw that all of us are looking for some kind of happiness. Some people think that their physical needs, when satisfied, will give them happiness. Some people think that when their emotional needs satisfied will give them happiness. Some people are trying to satisfy their psychological needs. But in the end, this idea that if I satisfy my needs and I'll become happy, ultimately it leads to frustration. We saw some examples. We also concluded that those who are practicing the external tenets of spiritual life, such as compassion, charity, and service attitude, they are experiencing so much happiness compared to these people who are simply engrossed in fulfilling their needs. So we concluded that even if the basic tenets of the mode of goodness or the basic tenets of spirituality give so much happiness, then how much happy will be a person who actually goes deep into the understanding of Bhagavad Gita, into the understanding of who am I, who is God, and what is my relationship with Him. So we understood that the dharma of the spirit soul is to serve. Jivera Swarup Hai Krishnera Nitya Das. The eternal constitutional position of a living entity is that it is a loving servant of God. The major problem of our life is because we are not serving the right person or the right entity. We are serving our false ego, we are serving our desires, we are serving our bad habits, we are serving our family, we are serving our apartment community, we are serving our boss, we are serving our desires for sense gratification. And if we don't have anything or anyone to serve, then we buy a cat or a dog and we start serving. So that is the major disease. The major disease is instead of serving God, instead of serving Krishna, we are ready to find some imitating Krishnas or some other so-called influential people, and we want to serve them. And we are hoping that we'll become happy. We had an example where we discussed that this is like not watering the root of the tree. Krishna is like the root of the entire existence. So if we don't water the root of the plant, if we simply water the twigs, the branches, the leaves, and the stem, then it will not help us. So happiness can only be derived when the soul rekindles its connection with the super soul. Just like a fish is happy only in water, so a spirit soul can only be happy in a spiritual environment doing spiritual activities. If a spirit soul understands that it is only the body, and by this understanding, if it strives only to become more beautiful, more rich, more famous, more strong, more intelligent, or spends an entire lifetime simply eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, and ultimately it will result in frustration. So dharma of every living entity or dharma of the spirit soul is not Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, Isai. Dharma of the living entity or spirit soul is to do the unconditional, unmotivated, loving servant loving service to Krishna. And Bhagavad Gita is the manual of life. It teaches us how to serve, whom to serve. And therefore, anybody who even begins practicing the principles of Bhagavad Gita, which are not limited to any religion or sect or country, if anybody starts implementing these principles of Bhagavad Gita, they experience great happiness. So even before I start today's discussion, I have a question for all of you. This is just a feedback from me. Are you happy to be a part of this Gita course? And are you willing to recommend it to others? Because here we are discussing the eternal principles of human life. We are discussing who is God, what does God want from us, what is my relationship with God, and how to live in synergy or coexist with God in a very favorable way. We understood in the previous session, as you answered this poll, let me just add some more points to the recap. We understood in the previous session that if you simply purchase a Bhagavad Gita from somewhere and sit in your study room and try to read it, you'll never be able to understand or implement the principles of Bhagavad Gita. One needs to take shelter of a devotee of Krishna. One first has to become a devotee of Krishna. And one has to have a non-envious mentality and a friendly disposition towards Krishna. Only then they can understand the Bhagavad Gita. And the Bhagavad Gita is meant to be studied as it is and not some personally motivated interpretations of it. So, if you are happy to be a part of this Gita course and if you are willing to recommend it to others, can you please cast your vote? Only 65% people have cast their vote. Please take another 30 seconds. What is your name once again? Kushal. Kushal is sitting here and he's telling that he's already recommended it to his friends. So you vote for a yes? Okay, he's voting for a yes. Okay, take another 10 seconds, please. I will request all of you to please cast your vote. This helps us to understand. This is an important feedback for us. Very good. Okay, I'm ending the poll now. And here are the results. Around 80% of you feel that yes, you are happy with it and recommend it to others. Some of you are still figuring it out. You're happy with it, but you are still figuring it out how to recommend it to others or whether to recommend it to others. And of course, few of you feel that there is some scope for improvement. So therefore, when we circulate the feedback form, please help us to understand how we can improve this. Thank you. So I will share my screen and we'll go further. War is inevitable. War is inevitable for all of us. One may say that I'm not in a battlefield and I'm not struggling in my life, but we are all facing with challenges in our day-to-day life, moment to moment. How? We face challenges from our uncontrolled, unbridled mind. We are all facing challenges with the body. Who can say that their body will fully cooperate with them whenever they want? Their body is their slave. Whatever they want, they can do with it. You are making nice plans to go somewhere, but then all of a sudden you get a call of nature and the whole plan gets destroyed. So you're facing challenges because of your body, you're facing challenges because of your mind, and also because of your environment, the place where you stay. Who can confidently say that I can control my environment? At least I can't say that. So we are all at a war all the time. This war is mostly going on in our mind. And this is basically created by the mind, happening due to the various bodily circumstances, mental circumstances, and environmental circumstances. We may endeavor to avoid all these wars. We may endeavor to neglect all these wars, but they will happen inevitably. Now, Arjuna was not afraid of war. When we read the first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, we find that it appears that he's making excuses not to fight. So Arjuna was not that kind of a person who was afraid of this war. He rather was afraid of this intellectual and the mental war which was happening within. He was not afraid. He was trying to avoid it. He was not afraid of facing crores of people in the battlefield, but he was rather afraid of these questions which he had in his mind and heart, which were rendering him weak in the battlefield. So successful people, what is the definition of success? Successful people are not the ones who have not been challenged. We say, he's an undisputed leader, and they are not. That's not the definition of success. Success means those who have learned how to face challenges, how to face it. Challenges will come. In fact, if we see somebody is in challenging situations almost all the time, we should not conclude, oh, this person is inefficient, or this person is poor, or this person is unfortunate. No. If someone knows how to face the challenge, that person is as good as a person who has, who claims that I have no problems in my life and I'm very successful. So successful people are not those who do not have any challenges necessarily, but they are those who know how to face the challenge. So therefore, we are all at a war constantly. Now, but someone may say, well, I don't have any problem. Things are going good in my life. I have a good job. I have a good house. I have a good bank balance. I have everything good. My body is good. My health is good. Circumstances are good. Environment is good. Everything is good. How many of you think like this, that everything, actually you don't have any problems in life? Everything around you is good. You are living a very, very nice life. And genuinely you feel it. That yes, everything is good. How many of you feel? Can you please raise your hands to confirm? Yes, some of you feel like that. Yes. And everything is good in my life. Some of you make a WhatsApp status that 2021 is going to be the best year of my life. Some of you say that wonderful life, king size life. These kind of people, they speak like this sometimes. So we are not against you. If you have that conception, very good. However, let me give you some case studies. I think all of you drink water on a daily basis. And those of you who are living in cities, you must be paying for that water also. 50 years before, if you would have told someone that you are paying 40, 50 rupees for around 20 liters of water which you drink, and that too you drink on a daily basis. If you would have told 50 years ago someone this point, that I'm paying 40, 50, 60, 100 rupees for every 20-liter can of water, they would have laughed at you. And they would have told you, you're living in a hell, please exit that place. Now, water is the basic necessity of life. Nothing can exist without water. And for that water, we are paying money. That means we are challenged to have even the basic necessity of life. But still we are feeling that we have no problem. Right now, we don't pay anything for the oxygen. If someone tells you that I'm paying 5,000 rupees per day to get 10 hours of oxygen, what will you advise to that person? You'll say that I really pity you. You please come out of that situation, or better you just slit your throat and die, because you're living in hell, basically. That is hell. What is life? All the time with people in Corona, they very well understood this point. All the time, mask, getting suffocated inside a mask. Imagine that at least with mask, you're able to breathe. But imagine if you're not able to breathe also, the basic necessity is challenged, suppose. And still, if somebody is thinking that they have no problems in life, they need to reconsider. So I just give a very, very trivial example. Just for those people who think that, yeah, I have no problems in life. There is a reason why Lord Krishna has told in the Bhagavad Gita that this material world is dukkhalayam, ashashvatam, anityam, asukham. Just like in a pustakalaya, you get only pustak. So in a dukkhalaya, you get only dukh. But our problem is that we have become so much conditioned to remaining dukhi all the time, that when the level of distress reduces a little bit, we think it is sukh or happiness. Actually, we have never experienced happiness. When there is slight reduction in the distress, for example, if a prisoner is beaten up every morning and every evening, And if one evening the person who is assigned to beat him, if he forgets to beat him up, then the prisoner will think, oh, today is a very happy day. As long as he is in the prison, he is unhappy. So similarly, a spirit soul, as long as they are separated, as long as they have not rekindled their connection with the Supreme Lord, and they are happily existing in this material world full of birth, disease, old age, and death, and still if someone is thinking, oh, I'm very happy, and then according to Bhagavad Gita, they are in illusion. They are in illusion and they need to reconsider what they are thinking. So we all have problems. Some of us are able to realize this. Some of us are not able to realize this. And because of these problems, there is a constant war which is happening in the core of the heart of every living entity. Let me be more brute and let me be more candid. Everybody in this material world is having a forest fire of material existence, and anxiety burning in their consciousness all the time. A forest fire begins on its own, but it is very difficult to extinguish a forest fire. Buckets and buckets of water or 10 millions of fire brigade cannot extinguish a forest fire. So we all have this forest fire of material anxiety in the core of our heart, and we are being challenged by our body, mind, soul, environment, people around us, the laws of material nature, etc., etc. So therefore, war is inevitable. So at this point of time, I would again like to ask all of you a question. How many of you feel that, yes, war is inevitable? There is another poll on your screen. If you agree that, yes, the war is inevitable and we are all having a forest fire of material existence burning in our heart, then you can please type yes. If you think no, despite what Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, despite what I'm experiencing on a daily basis, despite I don't want to become old, I'm being forced to become old, despite I don't want to die, I'm being forced to die, despite I don't want to fall sick, I'm being forced to fall sick, still if I feel I'm very, very happy, then you please type no. Otherwise, if you feel that no, let's face the reality. If you feel that yes, I'm at a constant war, then you please type or please mark the yes as an option. Please take another 30 seconds. Okay. Very, very good. We're getting enthusiastic participation. Take another 5 seconds, please. The poll has already lasted for 1 minute. Huh? Did anyone say no? Yeah. Okay, we end the poll now and we share the results. Around 93% people feel that yes, there is a war which is happening in the core of their heart, in their antahkarana, in their chitta, in their consciousness all the time, whether they accept it or don't accept it, but that is the reality. And 7% people feel that no, they don't have any war and their life is very peaceful. Maybe they have already attended this Gita course and they are already self-realized. So we don't know. But yes, majority of you feel that yes, there is a war, and then we need to come to the solution. So now that I know the opinion of the people who are attending this session, I will pace my discussion and direct my discussion accordingly. Bhagavad Gita chapter 2, shloka number 14. Matra sparshastu kaunteya sitoshena sukha dukkha daha agama paino nitya stam titikshasva bharata. Definition of this is the definition of the primary definition of how to live in this material world is given by Krishna. This you will not find in any other book. A person who is not well versed with the Bhagavad Gita, a person who is not a devotee of Krishna, cannot even come up with such a solution. What is Krishna's solution? O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course are like appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception, O scion of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. So just see the kind of solution which Bhagavad Gita is offering. Wherever we go in various schools, colleges, universities, corporates, everybody says, go ahead, fix the problem, solve the problem, find solutions, do everything which is possible. But Lord Krishna says, Matra sparshas tu kaunteya sitoshna sukha dukkha. The non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course of time are like appearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise basically from sense perception. So what should we do? Should we really go mad with each and every problem which we have in life? Answer is no. Just tolerate it. This is the solution given by Bhagavad Gita, which many people fail to realize. Not all problems are meant to be solved. Many of the problems are just coming to purify us, to change our opinions, perceptions, to help us grow as an individual, to crush our false ego. So we have to just tolerate it. If I run to solve each and every problem, so-called material problem of my life, how will I focus on the problem of birth, disease, old age, and death? I'll give you some examples. It is customary to have bath as soon as one gets up in the morning. Only lazy people don't have bath as soon as they get up. I know some people who don't have bath every day. So they are a different special category of human beings. Generally, I try. It's very difficult to talk to them only. So, sense perception, pleasure, non-permanent appearance of pleasure and distress basically comes because of sense perception, just like summer and winter season. Meaning to say, right now it's not very chilly or cold, at least in the part of the world where I stay. So this water feels very nice. I pour it on my head and I'm feeling very happy. But in the month of January and February, or February and March, in the month of Magh, the same water which is now giving me so much pleasure, the same water gives me so much distress. Early in the morning, 4 o'clock, I'm trying to put water on my head. It's a very, very chilly experience. At least, let's be honest. It's not easy to do that. So what does this shloka mean? This shloka means that in the path of the execution of the duty, in the path of proper discharge of duty, one has to learn to tolerate the non-permanent appearances and disappearances of happiness and distress, which is basically rising from sense perception. One cannot try to solve each and every problem. It's simply a waste of time. Having bath is a 10-minute activity. And if I just try to solve this problem of water being too cold in winter and too hot in summer and this, that, it's better to just tolerate it. Similarly, cooking. Many people cook at their home, especially mothers. They like to cook for their family and their children. But in sometimes the kitchen becomes very hot, especially the traditional kitchens where cooking is more healthier. In the month of May and June, it's very difficult to go inside the kitchen and cook. But in the path of proper discharge of duty, whether it is a cold season where the cooking is very pleasurable, one is sitting in front of the fire and cooking and also getting heat for themselves, or whether it is the May and June kind of cooking where cooking is very, very difficult, one has to simply tolerate it. These problems have no solution. And if one tries to solve these problems, they are simply wasting their time. Just like one cannot count the number of waves which come in an sea or an ocean. Similarly, these kind of problems, they have no end only. So a wise person who is determined to experience higher levels of spiritual life will just tolerate this. So that is the meaning of this verse. Matra sparshas tu kaunteya sitoshna sukha dukkha agama paino anityastam titikshasva bharat. One has to tolerate. And the more you tolerate, the more you grow in the environment of these problems. Another example I would like to give. Sometimes when you clean the room, you take a broom and you start cleaning the room. So the dust starts rising. Dust starts rising like anything. You are cleaning the room, you are endeavoring very hard, and you're thinking the dust will go out of the room. But after 5 minutes of cleaning, you see that the dust has started rising and the room looks much more dusty. What should you do in that situation? Should you just throw the broom and run away from the situation? Or should you tolerate and just continue the process? I think there's no point of taking a poll on this. One should just tolerate this. So in the path of discharge of our duties, sometimes our mind will rebel like anything. Sometimes situations will not fall in place. We just have to tolerate it. Only Bhagavad Gita teaches this. Only Lord Krishna speaks about this. All the other less intelligent people and less intelligent organizations, they will simply say, oh, try to solve this problem, fix it up, this, that. No need to waste time. Just tolerate and continue the discharge of your duty. That is the message of this verse. In fact, distress will come. Distress has to come. This world is dukkhalayam, ashashvatam, anityam, asukham. You cannot solve all the problems. You have to learn to tolerate it. And one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. Therefore, when I was telling that we have to have a consciousness where we are in this world but not of this world. We have to have a consciousness which transcends the material problems of life. We have to have a consciousness in which we aim to remain undisturbed, unperturbed, even amidst various problems of life. We have to have a consciousness where we target spiritual solutions to the material problems of life. That is the essence of this verse. Tam titikshasva bharata. Just tolerate it. Krishna never said that, oh, now you are with me and I'm telling you the Bhagavad Gita, you'll never face any difficulty. Or in fact, he didn't say that I am the Supreme Personality of God and I'm there with you. Why do you worry? Just go to sleep in the chariot. I'll take care of everything. No. So similarly, we are not saying that if you attend this Gita course, you'll have no distress in life. If you are having that kind of expectation, I'm sorry, we can't help you. However, what we can help you is by letting you know that distress is compulsory, but suffering is optional. And when you truly understand the meaning of this verse 2.14, you will have various distresses in life, but you will not suffer. So therefore, note down this verse number 2.14. Pick up the Bhagavad Gita as it is written by Srila Prabhupada and try to read the purport of this verse. And then you will feel a new light of knowledge, driving away the ignorance in the core of our hearts. Okay. So next point which I want to cover today is expertise and organization, the cause of success. What are the steps to success? This I have noted down from some very famous business school, and they came up with such steps. They said that first, in any environment, in any project or in any circumstances, you have to find the right people and put them on the task. Find the right people and put them on the task. Next is offer them the right bait. Meaning to say, if a person is of a Brahminical nature, so Brahmins or Brahminical nature, people who are Brahminical nature means by guna and by karma, not simply Brahmins by birth. In every part of the world you travel, you will always find people in 4 categories. The intellectuals, the people who are administrative, the people who are business-minded, and the people who just are meant to serve others, basically. So people who have the Brahminical qualification, the only thing which will help you to get cooperation from them is to give them some vision or let them work on a platform of strategy or a vision, or maybe some kind of educational role, helping others, guiding others, etc. If you put a Brahminical person in management, you're simply wasting your time. Similarly, the administrative people, they like to have challenges. Challenge tickles them. In fact, a Brahminical person doesn't need a challenge. With or without challenge, his style of working will be consistent. But an administrative person or a Kshatriya, when compared to a Brahmin is in some degree of ignorance. Until you give them a challenge, they will not work for you. They'll simply sit idle. So in order to get these people work, to get work from these people, one has to give them some challenging in situations. Similarly, there are some category of people who will not work until you give them some incentive. And finally, there are some people who will only work when there is micromanagement. Otherwise, you can't trust them, you can't get work done from them. So the steps to success is identify the right people, offer the right bait to them. For that, you need to be a good student of Bhagavad Gita to understand the natures of everybody, not in order to exploit them, but in order to help them achieve their maximum potential. So identify the right people, offer them the right bait, estimate their strengths and weaknesses. That means understand how to basically, in which direction to push them and in which direction to nourish them. And then at every point, there is some kind of a trade-off. So one has to analyze what are the pains and what are the gains. They say no pains, no gains. So how much pain should one endeavor? And at what price? And what is the gain coming out of it ultimately? I have sacrificed, if somebody has sacrificed last 100 weekends, but the result is just 20,000 rupees out of that, or the result is just 5 minutes of happiness out of that, what is the point? One needs to do proper trade-offs. And then, of course, without plan, nothing works. So make a solid plan of action. And lastly, carry everyone with you and be positive. So these are some of the steps to success. This I have noted down from very, very top class business articles. Now, let me tell you something. Duryodhana had all of them, but he failed. Duryodhana could identify the right people. He could offer the right bait to them. He was an expert at estimating their strengths and weaknesses. He knew when to do what kind of trade-off. We can see that in the first 20 verses of Bhagavad Gita only. He had a very, very solid plan of action. And he was really a good diplomat, an expert leader, expert person on organizing various things. He could get more than 65% of the entire world to come on his side in the war of Kurukshetra. Definitely, he could carry everyone with him. And he was really, really positive. But what was the end result? They failed. Now let's try to understand why he failed. 1.3 Bhagavad Gita. Pashyaitam panduputranam acharya mahatim chamom vyudham drupadaputrena tava shishyena dhimata. So students can try to note down the verses which I'm referring and then go home or try to study it after the sessions. Oh, my teacher, behold the great army of the sons of Pandu, so expertly arranged by your intelligent disciple, the son of Drupada. Those who attended the Friday's session, I have already explained this verse. Therefore, I have just put it in bold, intelligent disciple of the son of Drupada. Why is Duryodhana going to Dronacharya and telling him about Drupada? And he's not naming this the son of Drupada, whose name is Drishtadyumna. He is just referring him, your intelligent disciple, the son of Drupada. Without again trying to speak about the history between Dronacharya and Drupada, I will just briefly say that they were not on good terms. And Drishtadyumna was meant to kill Dronacharya. And Duryodhana is trying to instigate Dronacharya so that he gets infuriated and just starts massacring the Pandava troops by making him understand that, yes, see, the person who is against you is the son of Drupada and you don't like Drupada. So he knows how to offer the right bait to someone. And Bhishma is there, but in presence of Bhishma, he's first going and talking Pandava to his teacher, Dronacharya. Why? Because he knows how to carry everyone with him. A teacher or a Brahmana is more superior to an administrator or a Kshatriya. So therefore, he goes and talks to Dronacharya first. However, he also talks about Bhishma later on, so that he also feels good. So what does he do? This is the next verse, 1.10. Aparyaptam tadasmakam balam bhishma bhirakshitam paryaptam tva idam netesham balam bhima bhirakshitam. So the Acharyas give various meanings of the word aparyaptam. In Sanskrit, one word can have various meanings. However, one cannot do simply word jugglery with these meanings. One needs to know what Krishna meant or what Duryodhan meant while speaking this verse. So Duryodhan is basically playing a double meaning game in this verse. The word aparyaptam means sufficient or immeasurable. At the same time, it can also mean insufficient or measurable. Aparyaptam tadasmakam balam bhishma bhirakshitam. Dronacharya may be feeling that, oh, although I am his preceptor, I am his teacher, I am a Brahmana, but still he has made Bhishma. That means he has more faith in Bhishma. So Duryodhana is telling, aparyaptam tadasmakam balam bhishma bhirakshitam. Because Bhishma is trying to protect us, so therefore our strength is not sufficient. We are completely dependent upon you, Dronacharya. Why? Because Bhishma has a soft corner for those Pandavas. He has already taken a vow that he will not kill any of the Pandavas. So therefore, we are aparyaptam. We are not sufficient in our strength. However, on the other side, paryaptam tva idam me tesham balam bhima bhirakshitam. My very dear brother, who is very dear to me, and he also likes me very much, and I also like him very much. I'm just speaking sarcastically. He has no such soft corners or emotions for any of us. He's going to simply massacre everybody else. So in that way, my Pradhan Senapati has a soft corner for the enemy, but my enemy is ready to massacre all of us. So therefore, in that way, under the strength, under the protection of Bhima, it is paryaptam. They are like having an upper hand. That is one meaning. So in this way, he tried to appease Dronacharya. But what is the other meaning of this? The other meaning I have written here. Our strength is immeasurable when we are perfectly protected by grandfather Bhishma, whereas the strength of the Pandavas, carefully protected by Bhima, is limited. Aparyaptam tadasmakam balam bhishma bhirakshitam. Aparyaptam can also mean immeasurable, as I said. So although he's talking to Dronacharya, but while talking to Dronacharya, Dronacharya will pick up the other meaning of aparyaptam and become happy. And Bhishma will pick up the other meaning of aparyaptam. Yeah, under my direction and superintendence, my dear grandson feels that, yeah, everything is perfect. And then he's telling, oh, this Bhima, he's like just an insignificant fig in front of Bhishma, who is the greatest general and the most experienced warrior which the world has ever seen. So you see, all these qualities which I just said are perfectly displayed in Duryodhana. He knows when to talk to him. He's offering the right bait to them. And why he is talking like this, aparyaptam, paryaptam, that means he's able to estimate the strength and the weaknesses. That's why he's making such precise statements. And we'll see in the further verses, he does very nice plan of action and he's carrying everyone with him. Let's go to the next verse. Okay. I've quoted only 2 verses in this PPT, but yeah, from verse number 12 to verse number 20 of the first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, if you read, you will see how expertly Duryodhana is simply carrying everyone with him. 1 second. Yeah. But what was the end result of all this? Even after doing such expert management, Duryodhana failed. Now, at this point of time, now that I've explained you this scenario, I have a question for all of you. Do you think that expertise and organization is the cause of success? If you think it is the cause of success, and that is the only cause of success, then you please raise your hands. However, if you feel that expertise and organization is not good enough, is not sufficient enough, because we saw that Duryodhana was an expert organizer and a perfect manager and fully organized, but still he lost the battle. So do you think that expertise and organization is good enough for achieving your means? If you think yes, please raise your hands. However, if you feel that no, expertise and organization cannot guarantee a success, just sit tightly, do not raise your hands. My question is, please listen to the question. If you feel that expertise and organization alone is sufficient to give you success, please raise your hand. But if you feel no, expertise and organization is not alone sufficient, there is a higher variable in this equation, which we have to understand. And expertise and organization is not alone is not good enough to get me or guarantee me a success, then you please do not raise your hands. Okay, so I see there are so many participants, but only few are raising their hand, and the number is in single digits only. So I take that as a positive sign. However, there are few of you who are raising hands. I think I have not been able to convey the message properly. However, please lower your hands now. I can tell you now that expertise and organization is not the cause for success. So what is the actual cause of success? Let's see what was the actual cause of success. We'll first try to discuss some of the signs of victory of the Pandavas. Number one, as we studied in the first verse of Bhagavad Gita 1.1, Dhritarashtra uvacha dharma kshetre kurukshetre samaveta yayutsavaha mamaka pandavaschaiva kimma kurvata samjaya. So Dhritarashtra was very much worried that this dharma kshetra kurukshetra is a very, very positive place which has very, very positive spiritual vibrations, and the Pandavas who are spiritually inclined will tap this positive vibration and they will derive huge benefits out of it. For example, and this is not just theory which I'm speaking. A temple is a place where a lot of cleanliness is appreciated and practiced. So anybody who enters our temple, they feel good. Things are in proper place. Everything is clean. Everything has a proper place. Things are happening on time. So they feel very relaxed. They come and sit here. They come and talk with us. They have some prasadam with us. They attend the aarti. They attend the lectures and the sessions. Why? Because there is a lot of spiritual vibration here. Knowingly, unknowingly, when people come here, they feel happy. And this is not possible in a bar or a pub. Why do these bars and pubs function only when the sun sets? Why don't these bars and pubs, they open, or these brothels, they open 4:30 a.m. in the morning? Because they are in the mode of ignorance. And after the sun sets, the time of ignorance begins. So at that time, there are some vibrations which are helping these illicit activities to happen. Similarly, the time 1.5 hours before sunrise is called Brahma Muhurta. In that Brahma Muhurta, you will never find all these activities happening. Rather, those who are spiritually inclined and those who are highly conscious, those who are trying to progress in spiritual life, you will find that inevitably they will be awake at that time and they'll be doing their sadhana. And those who are in the mode of ignorance, these bars, pubs, and brothels people, they will be fast asleep at that time. And when they will wake up, 9 a.m., 10 a.m., and half the day is already lost. So this is called as the effect of the modes of material nature, mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance. You just do this experiment. Wake up one day at 4:30 a.m. and chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And wait for 6 a.m. Around 6 a.m., the sun rises. And you will see, if you are awake enough, you will feel a particular change in consciousness from the time when the sun had not risen and from the time when the sun has risen. In my case right now, I don't even need to see the sun rising. I can just feel it. Oh yeah. Even without seeing the sun rising, I can just feel a paradigm shift in my consciousness. Why? Because the different vibrations act in different times of the day. That's called the modes of material nature. About this, I'll discuss in the future sessions. So similarly, such kind of positive spiritual vibrations was there in Kurukshetra. And Pandavas were very much positively imbibing those sound vibrations. So I'll again share my screen. The signs of the victory of the Pandavas. The first sign was they are in Kurukshetra and they are spiritually inclined and pious people, devotees of Krishna. So they will definitely have an upper hand. The second sign of victory was presence of Krishna himself on their side. So therefore, one of the names of Krishna is Madhava. Madhava means husband of the goddess of fortune. So the husband of the goddess of fortune is on their side. So how can there be any failure on their side? And of course, there was a great devotee on their side also. His name was Hanuman. Hanuman was, that's why Arjuna is called as Kapidhwaja. He has a flag on which the Kapi or the Hanuman is there. And then he had a role to play in the battle also, which I will discuss sometime later. Okay, let me tell you what was the role. The role was when Bhima would roar in the battle of Kurukshetra. At that time, Hanuman would also add his roar along with the roar of Bhima, and that would create a very, very disastrous effect on the army of the opposite side. Some of them would simply die hearing that roar, or some of them would have a nervous breakdown, or some of them just lose all their enthusiasm and spirits. So that was the role. And of course, Kapidhwaja, Hanuman was there protecting the chariot of Arjuna also in various ways. So these were some of the signs. The holy environment was there, presence of Krishna was there, and Krishna, wherever the last verse of Bhagavad Gita is the proof that wherever there is Krishna, there is all victory. And of course, there was the presence of a great devotee Hanuman on the side of the Pandavas. So these are some of the signs of victory. Now, you see, this has got nothing to do with expertise and organization. So therefore, we are dealing with a higher variable in our life. We are dealing with higher aspects of life. We need to have a holy environment in our life, at our homes. We need to have the presence of Lord in our life. We need to have the presence of the devotees of Lord in our life. And then everything will fall in place. So how does this translate in my life? That's the question. These are the signs of victory of the Pandavas, but how do I implement all this in my life? So we can also become successful. First, we saw that the holy environment, we can make our house a holy environment. Now, we can make our home very auspicious. How? By regularly worshipping Lord Krishna. By regularly chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And like I mentioned, that this time we try to keep the temple very clean. So you can also clean your house regularly. And in that way, you will also have positive spiritual vibrations in your house. If you don't chant Hare Krishna and if you don't worship the Supreme Lord, if you only keep it clean, you have vibrations of mode of goodness. But if you clean your house and also chant Hare Krishna, then you have spiritual vibrations in your house, which makes you transcendental to this material world, basically. So you can also become successful. All of us can become successful. And this has got nothing to do with expertise and organization. Expertise and organization will only add value to this. But the essence is to have these factors in our life. The first is make your home a temple. Such homes will be always filled with positive vibrations. And one will not be, tormented by lust, greed, anger, illusion, envious, and attachments in their life, if they live in a place which has spiritual vibrations. Now, at this point of time, I have a question for all of you. Pandavas took a lot of advantage from the positive spiritual vibrations in Kali Yuga. And the way we can translate it in our life is to make our home also a temple. How many of you would like to make your home a temple so that you can also have an upper edge in life? Those who feel yes, can please vote yes. Those who feel no, I don't want my home to be a temple. I want to stay in the mode of ignorance. I don't want to clean regularly. I don't want to chant Hare Krishna. I don't want to worship the Supreme Lord. Rather, I want to worship only my stinking material desires. And I don't want to chant Hare Krishna. Rather, I want to chant blasphemous names to all the people who have given me sorrow in my life. Yeah, then you type no, or you say no. 75% of you have voted. Please take another 2 to 3 minutes. Please take another 30 seconds and please finish this voting. Yes. This is a unanimous poll, I think. Okay. Another last 5 seconds to cast your vote, please. Okay, time is up. 99% of you feel that, yes, you want to make your home a temple. So very, very good. So Pandavas got a lot of benefit from being in Kurukshetra, which was a spiritual place. So if we also want to be victorious in life, of course, we need to have a plan. But the primary aspect of that, our expertise and organization, is to have a temple-like environment in our home. Our home should be full of spiritual vibrations. That will make us happy. That will make us surcharged. And with a happy and a surcharged state of existence, we can conquer any battle of life. Next, Pandavas had Lord Krishna on their side. How do I have Lord Krishna on my side? For that, I need to avoid the Duryodhana mentality. What is Duryodhana mentality? Duryodhana mentality is, I just want Lakshmi, I don't want Narayan. That is Ravana mentality also. They don't know that Lakshmi is Chanchala and she only stays at the lotus feet of Chanchala Pati. So instead of simply running behind money, I should rather run behind Krishna. And whenever there is Krishna, all these facilities will automatically follow. This I'm saying from personal experiences in day-to-day life. If I run behind Krishna, then everything else follows. However, if I leave Krishna, if I leave God, and if I run behind so many other things, I will simply be frustrated. So if I want good fortune in my life, then I should run behind God. I should run behind Krishna. And then I'll be able to avoid the Duryodhana mentality. All kinds of materialistic Aishwarya, fortune, is always flickering without the presence of God in our life. No one can be eternally rich. You are rich now, maybe your next generation will not be rich. But yes, if you are God conscious now, and if you pass on this culture of God consciousness to your future generations, life is successful. As at least your life as a parent or a brother or a sister or a well-wisher will be successful. So one who chases fortune may or may not get it, but one who follows the Lord will get everything needed. This Krishna has promised in the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, to my devotees, I carry what they need and I preserve what they have. I repeat, Krishna says, to my devotees, I carry what they need and I preserve what they have. Such a promise. Who is giving? The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna is giving. So, if we simply run behind the Lord, if we simply try to serve the Lord, follow the Lord. Following the Lord means follow His instructions. If we simply try to do that, then everything else will follow and we will get everything which is needed. Please hear what I'm saying. We'll get everything which is needed, not everything which our stinking material mind wants. We will get everything which is needed, not what our stinking material mind wants. So Krishna says, to my devotees, I carry what they need and I preserve what they have. So therefore, if I try to follow the Lord, then I will get everything which is needed for me. I'll be able to live a simple, plain living, high thinking kind of a lifestyle. However, if I chase fortune, then I'm having an illusory state of existence and I'm always struggling and frustrated, trying to solve all the problems of life, only to understand that I simply wasted my time. Moving further. So I need to make my home a temple. I need to have Lord Krishna as the center of my life. And lastly, I need to have the association of good people. Hanuman was there on the side of Pandavas, so that was the sign of victory. Similarly, if we have the association of selfless and pure-hearted people in our life, then that is a sign of victory. And that can just revive us and keep us afloat in various trying circumstances. So the association of selfless and pure-hearted people is very, very necessary. And who is selfless and pure-hearted people? The devotees of Krishna. In the future sessions, I will give the definitions of a devotee. In that, we'll understand that only a devotee of Krishna can be selfless and can be pure-hearted. Why? Because Krishna is selfless and pure-hearted. So devotees of Krishna are like Krishna, selfless and pure-hearted. So, and these devotees, when we have in our life, they give us good counsel. And nobody is above good counsel. If anybody thinks I don't need guidance, I don't need good advice, their situation is very pathetic. They are practically blind. And also, a very, very important point which I want to point out here is that a man is known by his association. So we have to see what kind of association I have. Do I have the association of selfless and pure-hearted people? Or do I have the association of all these idiots and donkeys? Man is known by his association. So 3 ways in which we can become successful in our life, which is beyond expertise and organization. What are they? I have to make my home a temple full of spiritual vibrations. Number 2, I have to have Lord Krishna in my life. I don't need to follow the Duryodhana mentality. I have to chase Krishna and then everything will follow instead of chasing Lakshmi. And number 3, I need the association of pure saintly personalities in my life who are pure-hearted and selfless. Their relationship with me is unmotivated. And in that environment of loving exchanges with these devotees, I will get all the good counsel in the right time. And my situation will be as good as Arjuna being protected by Krishna. So these are some of the ways in which we can also become powerful. Now, I've been speaking a lot, but I've not given any proof of this. So I will now present some pramana, because without praman, any argument is waste. So here is the praman. Last verse of Bhagavad Gita. Yatra yogeshwaraha Krishno, yatra partho dhanurdharaha, tatra shri vijayo bhute dhruvanitir matir mama. Bhagavad Gita 18.78. Wherever there is Krishna, the master of all mystics, and wherever there is Arjuna, the supreme archer, there will certainly be opulence, victory, extraordinary power, and morality. That is my opinion. This is Sanjaya is telling to Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra asked him in the first verse, Kim akurvata Sanjaya? Just trying to understand that. What do you think? Will my sons be victorious? So in the last verse of Bhagavad Gita, indirectly, Sanjaya has told Dhritarashtra that the battle has not yet begun, but you be ready that all your sons will be slaughtered. Why? Because wherever there is Krishna and wherever there is the devotee of Krishna, 4 things will always be there. What are those 4 things? Opulence, victory, extraordinary power, and morality. Tatra Shri Vijayo Bhutir Dhuvanitir Matirmam. So how many of you want these 4 things? Opulence, victory, extraordinary power, and morality in your life. Can you please raise your hands to give me a signal? Yes, I want opulence, I want victory, I want morality, and I want extraordinary power in my life. See, so many of you. And the number is rising. The number of hand raises is rising. Okay, please lower your hands. The majority of you want this. So you know what to do. 2 things. You need to have a favorable environment where you stay. You have to have Lord Krishna in your life. And you have to have the devotees of Lord Krishna in your life. then you get these opulence, victory, morality, and extraordinary power. The conclusion is that any amount of expertise and organization can fail us. I repeat, any amount of expertise and organization can fail us. Bhagavad Gita says simply becoming expert will not help. We have to take shelter of the Lord. We have to take shelter of Krishna. We have to take shelter of the devotees of Krishna. And we have to make our heart and our home a favorable place where Krishna can come and reside. That is called the mantra of success. And if we can do these things, then opulence, victory, morality, and extraordinary power will just follow us. Okay? Now, I'll just move further in this discussion. Introduction to Lord Krishna. There's no need to introduce him, but I just felt that I would glorify one quality of Krishna. Krishna has unlimited qualities, but there's one quality which is very, very close to my heart. That is the Bhakta Vatsala nature. One who is very affectionate to his devotees. Generally, heroes are introduced in a very, very exaggerated way, and they enter with a lot of background music and dramatics and so many acoustics here and there. But the supreme hero, Lord Krishna, how does he enter the Bhagavad Gita? As a driver, Arjuna is telling him, please take my chariot there. Please, he is not using the word please also. Please, sorry, by nature I say please. So Arjuna is telling, take my chariot there. Take my chariot here. Do this, do that. And what is the Lord doing? He's simply following the orders of his devotee. A person who doesn't understand the Bhagavad Gita, a person who doesn't know who is Arjuna and who is Krishna, if he sees the situation, he will feel, oh, Arjuna is the master, Krishna is the servant. And a very menial servant also. Arjuna is simply telling, take me there, take me, do this, do that, blah, blah, blah. So Krishna took the position of a charioteer for his devotee. Why? Because he is in love with his devotee. He is Bhakta Vatsala. There is a constant competition going between the Lord and his devotee, that who will serve each other better. The devotee wants to serve the Lord in all possible various ways. And the Lord also wants to serve his devotee and reciprocate with his devotee in all possible ways. And this is one quality of Lord Krishna which overpowers all his other qualities. Krishna has so many multifarious energies. Parasya Shaktir Vividhaiva Shruyate. Simply by his thinking, everything happens. He just thinks and it happens. He has got nothing to do. He simply is free to play his flute eternally. And he has expanded himself in various expansions, and his expansions have expanded into various expansions. And they're all doing the task as if it is happening automatically. And he has unlimited multifarious energies. But there is one potency of Krishna, one characteristics of Krishna, which overpowers all the other qualities. That is Bhakta Vatsal nature. Sometimes Krishna chooses to ignore that he is God, simply to reciprocate with his devotees. One example is coming in my mind. In the chariot, in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, there was a situation where Bhishma was in a very intense fight with Arjuna. And Arjuna is Savyasachi. He can fire arrows with both the hands. And the scene was so intense that the bow of Arjuna was almost like in a circle. That means it was all the time stretched from his hand to his ear. And both the hands he was firing and firing. And these are not some normal arrows. These are some celestial arrows which he's firing using mantra technology, which is completely at a subtle level. It was a subtle warfare which was going on, not gross. And Bhishma was better than anybody in that. And Arjuna was trying his best to counteract Bhishma, and Krishna was simply seeing it. Most of the arrows of Bhishma, Krishna was only counteracting by expertly maneuvering the chariot here and there in the battlefield, so that Arjuna is not have. So just to ensure that Arjuna should not have a tough time. He is my devotee. Now, why should he struggle? Kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. O son of Kunti, declare boldly that my devotee never perishes. Krishna told in the Bhagavad Gita. declare boldly that my devotee never perishes. Why should my devotee work hard? Why should my devotee struggle so much? I am there with him. That is the mood of Lord Krishna. But the devotee doesn't think like that. Devotee struggles and devotee works hard. So in the process of fighting with Bhishma, one single drop of sweat came out from the forehead of Arjuna, and Krishna couldn't tolerate it. Krishna said that I am with him and I am his charioteer and I'm trying to assist him. And this Bhishma has caused a sweat to come out of my devotee. So Krishna immediately got down from the chariot, picked up a wheel which had come out from another chariot, and he ran like a ferocious lion towards Bhishma. And that scene has been glorified in Srimad Bhagavatam in so many verses. If someone reads that scene, they will simply be lost in the beauty of Krishna. How he was running, how his black curly locks of hair, which was bluish and black, was covered with dust particles from the battleground. How there was some blood drops here and there on his body, but there were also some perspiration marks. And he had the complexion very beautiful, like the fresh monsoon cloud. His Angavastra had fallen down on the ground while he was running. And he was running like a violent lion with coppery red eyes. But still, although his eyes were coppery red, but it was as beautiful as lotus flowers. And Arjuna jumped from the chariot and held the legs of Krishna. But Krishna was so much in intensity to save his devotee that Arjuna got dragged for meters together by the leg of Krishna while Krishna was running with the chariot wheel in his hand to attack Bhishma. And what was Bhishma doing? One can say, oh, Arjuna is devotee, but Bhishma is also devotee. What is Bhishma doing? Bhishma, when he saw that scene, he kept his bows and arrows aside and he welcomed Lord Krishna in the form of death. And he was telling that I am the most fortunate personality in the whole creation. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tejatyante kalevaram tam tam evaiti kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavita. The struggle of life is to remember Krishna at the time of death. And here is Krishna in his Shyam Sundar, two-handed form coming in front of me, and I'm seeing him and he's going to come and kill me. What better death can be there? To hell with this war, to hell with Duryodhan, to hell with everybody. I'm attaining the perfection of life. Oh Krishna, please come and kill me immediately. Don't waste any time. So this is the Bhaktvatsal nature of the Lord. And why did Krishna do this? Because Bhishma had taken a vow that I will force Lord Krishna to break his promise. Krishna, who is Satyavan, glorified in the scriptures as Satyavan, the definition of truth. Some truth is relative truth, but Krishna is absolute truth. All the other truths have value because of the absolute truth. Everything is based on that absolute supreme personality of Godhead, who is absolute truth personified, is ready to break his own promise and become a liar just to please his devotee, Bhishma. Why? Because Bhishma has taken a vrata that I will force Krishna to pick up a weapon. So in this way, Bhishma and Arjuna both are devotees of Krishna, and Krishna is the Bhaktvatsal Lord, and he's trying to reciprocate with both the devotees in the battlefield. That is Krishna. That is Bhaktvatsal Krishna. Another example of this I will tell you. Krishna incarnates in Kali Yuga also in the form of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in order to teach people how to practice the Bhagavad Gita or how to live the life of a devotee. He once goes to Sri Rangam, and in the campus of Sri Rangam, he finds a Brahmin sitting and reciting trying to read the Bhagavad Gita. But that Brahmin was an illiterate Brahmin. And he was holding the book upside down and he was simply trying to turn the pages. And the other puffed up, arrogant, so-called scholars of Sri Rangam were making fun of him. Oh, how many chapters have you finished? Oh, yesterday you were in chapter 18. No, today you're reading 19th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Point to be noted, there is no 19th chapter in Bhagavad Gita. So like that, they were making fun of him. So Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna himself, approached him and asked him, my dear Brahmin, what are you doing? So when he saw the Supreme Lord in the form of a humble devotee, as in the form of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he could understand that here is the same Supreme Personality of Godhead whom I'm meditating upon. And he understood that he's not like others who are making fun of him. So he got up, he received him very nicely and told him that what to do, sir. My spiritual master has ordered me to read the Bhagavad Gita every day, despite knowing the fact that I'm an illiterate. My spiritual master knew it, that I'm illiterate, but still he has ordered me. So just to respect his instruction, I sit with this Bhagavad Gita every day and try to read it. That is okay. Lord Chaitanya told that's okay, but then I see that you're crying. Why are you crying? So he said that every time when I open the Bhagavad Gita and I see this picture of a chariot where the Supreme Personality of Godhead is sitting as a charioteer and his devotee Arjuna is giving him orders, go here, go there, I cannot just help but meditating on the Bhaktvatsal nature of the Lord. I cannot but help in understanding how much the Lord is ready to do to reclaim the fallen conditioned souls of this world. And this makes me shed tears. So Lord Chaitanya immediately embraced that Srirangam Brahmin, and he told him that your understanding of Bhagavad Gita is perfect. You have actually understood the spirit of Bhagavad Gita. And all these scholars who are simply laughing at you, they don't know Bhagavad Gita. So the essence, when I'm trying to introduce Lord Krishna here, is the essence which I'm trying to communicate to you, that Lord Krishna may be so many things. Ishwaraha Paramaha Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. Like this, there can be so many things said in the glorification of Krishna. But there is one quality of Krishna which overrides all the other qualities, that is Bhakt Vatsal. That's why his name is Acyuta, one who never falls down from his position in affectionately reciprocating with his devotees. And he is ready to do anything for that. He doesn't care. There are so many pastimes of Vrindavan, so many pastimes of Dwarka, so many pastimes in Kurukshetra, outside Kurukshetra, which constantly glorify this one quality of Krishna, Bhakt Vatsal. So therefore, Vedescha sarvair aham eva vedyo vedanta krit vedavid eva chaham. Krishna says, by all the Vedas, I am to be known. Your years of study of Vedas should conclude to the point that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vedescha sarvair aham eva vedyo vedanta krit vedavid eva chaham. I am the compiler of the Vedas and knower of the Vedas. There can be so many more things said about Krishna, but the way in which I would like to introduce Krishna to all of you, and I would request you to remember him in that way, is that Krishna is Bhakta Vatsala Bhagavan. He is completely independent, Swarat, Swachandatma, Atmaram, completely satisfied, but he becomes a plaything in the hands of his pure devotee. That is the degree to which he loves, unmotivated, uninterrupted, without any conditions. He is Bhakta Vatsala Bhagavan, Lord Krishna. So moving and continuing our discussion. Finally, the last part of today's discussion, patch-up solution or perfect solution. What should we do finally? Should I do patch-up or should I do perfect solution? Arjuna's depression. Everything was all set. War was to begin. Arjuna, overcome with deep affection for people assembled and future consequences, wanted to back out of the war. And Arjuna put forward so many reasons. You can make an analysis. Arjuna gave so many reasons to not fight. Let's see some of the reasons. Arjuna Vacha Drishtve Mam Swajanam Krishna Yuyutsam Samupasthitam Sidanti Mama Gatrani Mukham Cha Parishushyati. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 1, shloka number 28. Arjuna said, my dear Krishna, seeing my friends and relatives present before me in such a fighting spirit, I feel the limbs of my body quivering and my mouth is drying up. This is compassion. Out of compassion, Arjuna didn't want to fight. This was one of the reasons which he gave. Of course, in chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita, which we will study in the future sessions, Krishna counteracts and refutes and defeats very badly all the arguments given by Arjuna. But yeah, one of the reasons which he gave was compassion. If I'm a police officer, and if somebody reports a theft in which my brother is involved, or grandfather is involved, or fathers or uncles are involved, sons and grandsons are involved, and if I just dismiss the case saying, oh, my sons and grandsons and grandfather and teachers are involved, so I'll not put them behind bars. No, I have to do my job as a statesman. So Arjuna was a statesman. He should not have been contaminated by this weakness of heart. by this so-called compassion. He should have discharged his duty. So this is one of the reasons which he gives. Actually, all these reasons which Arjuna is giving to not fight, they represent the patch-up solutions of our life. Patch-up solution. Anything which is not in line with the opinion of Bhagavad Gita, anything which is not in line with what Lord Krishna wants us to do, is a patch-up solution. Arjuna wanted to not fight, but Krishna wanted him to fight. So Arjuna was giving these reasons, solutions. Okay, I'm so compassionate, I can't fight with them. Patch-up solution. And we'll see some more reasons. These will all be patch-up solutions. Ultimately, when Krishna instructs Arjuna and when Arjuna surrenders to Krishna and decides to do what Krishna wants, that is the perfect solution. So let's see how that is translated in our life. Nacha shreyo anupashyami hatva swajanamahave nakankshe vijayam Krishna nacha rajyam sukhani cha. I do not see how any good can come from killing my own kinsmen in this battle, nor can I, my dear Krishna, desire any subsequent victory, kingdom, or happiness. 1.31 Bhagavad Gita. Nacha rajyam sukhani cha. Victory, kingdom, or happiness. So this is another materialistic mentality of Arjuna. When we want to enjoy something, we want to have the association of our friends, relatives. Why am I earning so much? Why am I getting a car and an elephant and so many things every month? Just to show off to others. If I have nobody to show off, why should I do all these things? So Arjuna is telling, I do not see any good coming out from killing my own kinsmen. And after that, whatever kingdom, happiness, or victory will come, whom will I enjoy it with? This is typical materialistic mentality. So this is a patch-up solution. Many of you are in leadership roles who are attending these sessions. Now, what is the main aspect of leadership? The main aspect of leadership is sacrifice. If a leader cannot make other people's happiness as his own happiness, then he's not very successful as a leader. He cannot be a leader. Here, Arjuna is ignoring the happiness of everybody and he's just thinking about himself. He cannot be a leader. He's just a simple materialist who's just concerned about himself. Sacrifice is needed. Imagine the amounts of sacrifice which a mother makes while taking care of the child. Imagine the amount of slog which the head of family undergoes. Sacrifices which a teacher does to help a student. Why? Because they have made the happiness of others around them as their own happiness. Arjuna was not ready to do that. Now, one may argue that the happiness of others is also sometimes misleading. Here is God in front of me, Krishna, and my role is to serve him. Jivera Swarup hai Krishnera Nityadas. Krishna wants me to fight, but look at my obstinacy and look at my so-called scholarship and so-called self-opinion that I'm ready not to satisfy God, and I'm saying that if I get victory, kingdom, and happiness, whom will I enjoy? Another patch-up solution which Arjuna was giving. Another, that I will be overcome by sinful reactions. He says, sin will overcome us if we slay such aggressors. Therefore, it is not proper for us to kill the sons of Dhritarashtra and our friends. What should we gain, O Krishna, the husband of goddess of fortune, and how could we be happy killing our own kinsmen? So the Acharyas comment in this verse that Arjuna uses the word Madhava. He says that you are meant to bring good fortune to everybody. Oh Madhava, you are meant to bring good fortune to everybody, but you are giving me such advice which is bringing only complete misfortune to me. And Arjuna is becoming mad in this verse. He's saying that sin will overcome if we slay such aggressors. The scriptures say that who are aggressors? One who gives poison to someone, one who burns someone's house, one who attacks with deadly weapons, one who plunders our riches, one who occupies another's land, or one who kidnaps a wife. These are all aggressors, atatai. And the scriptures say that if somebody kills an atatai, it's not a sin. In fact, as a statesman, it's your job to punish and chastise such atatais, aggressors. And Arjuna, just see how much he has become influenced by the material conditional way of life, that he's telling sin will overcome us if we slay such aggressors. Therefore, it is not proper for us to kill the sons of Dhritarashtra. So another reason that sin will overcome us. Another reason which he gave was verse number 39 of the first chapter. Dynasty will be destroyed. Kulakshaye pranashyanti kuladharmaha sanatanaha dharme nashte kulam krishnam adharmo abhibhavatyuta. With destruction of dynasty, eternal family tradition will be vanquished. And thus the rest of the family becomes involved in irreligion. And then this leads to Varna Shankar. When irreligion is prominent in the family, then the women of the family become polluted. And when the women of the family become polluted, then that leads to unwanted progeny. That is called Varna Shankar. So Arjuna is telling, let's see, if I kill him, although you want me to fight Krishna, but you know what? If I fight here, it will lead to Varna Shankar. Another patch-up solution, that destruction of family dynasty should not be done. Basically, Arjuna is trying to do the job of Krishna only. Krishna is the supreme maintainer, and Arjuna is trying to assume the position of Krishna by saying, oh, if I will kill, then this will happen, then that will happen. That is Krishna's headache. It is he who has assembled all these people. Before this battle, please consider, before this battle, Krishna and Balram were engaged in so many wars in Mathura and in Dwarka, and they were single-handedly, mercilessly reducing the burden of earth. But then they decided enough is enough. Let's bring everybody together in the Kurukshetra and then just let's finish the business. One shot, reduce the burden of the earth. That was Krishna's plan. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyudhanam dharmasya tadatmanam srijamya. Dharmasya glani. What is this dharmasya glanir? When a person forgets the real aim of life. The real aim of life, Jivera Swarup hai Krishnera Nityadas. The real constitutional position of a soul is to be a loving servant of Krishna. It is this concept of Sanatan Dharma when the world forgets. When the world forgets the importance of devotional service to Krishna, that is called Dharmasya Glani. And when the world becomes mad behind political issues, economic development, religious rituals, satisfaction of materialistic desires, escapist tendencies, and so-called liberation from the miseries, dharma, artha, kama, moksha, when the world becomes mad behind all these things, giving up prema, giving up practicing loving devotional service of the Lord, that is the dharma which the human society, when one forgets. To set right that dharma, Krishna descends. Abhyudhanam dharmasya tadatmanam srijamyam. By his internal potency, he just manifests himself. He is not forced to be born like you and me. Krishna is not forced by the laws of material nature. Idiots think like that. Otherwise, why will Krishna tell in the Bhagavad Gita, Janma karma chame divyam? One who understands the divya, the transcendental nature of my birth and activities, will never take birth again. So, Krishna descends to set right the concept of Sanatan Dharma, which is loving service to God. When that is affected, he appears again and again. So if Krishna only has decided that everybody should be brought to Kurukshetra and mass slaughter should happen, who is this Arjuna, insignificant Arjuna, to think, oh, if I slaughter them, then family tradition will be destroyed, and after that Varna Shankar will come. That is Krishna's job. Why is Arjuna trying to be God here? That is the question. So whatever solutions which Arjuna was giving was a patch-up solution. Perfect solution is just to follow what Krishna says. That is why the essence of Bhagavad Gita is Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo moksha ishyami ma shuchaha. Krishna says, abandon all varieties of religions and just surrender unto me. I shall give you freedom from all sinful reactions. Do not have doubt that whether I can do it, and do not fear. So this is the purpose of life. That is called, this was the mood of the residents of Vrindavan. They were ready to give up everything for the happiness of Krishna. The only aim of their life was that Krishna should be happy. Take the example of Govardhan Puja. For thousands of years, there was a tradition to worship Indra. But one day, this 7-year-old child says, no, stop worshipping Indra. Start worshipping Govardhan. Okay. If Krishna is happy, we'll do it. And after that, so much torrential rainfall came, everything destroyed, and the biggest tsunami which the human mind can imagine had happened. But they didn't go and ask Krishna, Krishna, you asked us to do. Now you see we are in so much problem. Even at that time, they were chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. That is called Sarva Dharman Parityajya. That is why in this verse, Krishna uses the word Vraja. Vraja means Vrindavan. Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja. He's telling that become like the residents of Vrindavan. That is the real essence of Bhagavad Gita. And this you can understand only under the guidance of a devotee of Krishna. Only under the guidance of an Acharya, like A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who comes in an unbroken line of disciplic succession starting from Krishna. So therefore, the perfect solution is to follow what Krishna says. The perfect solution is to aim only for the happiness of Krishna. And everything else apart from this is a patch-up solution. And one becomes Atmaha. If one takes shelter of these patch-up solutions, which Arjuna was giving, they will be the killer of their own soul. But if one follows Dharmam tu Sakshat Bhagavad Pranitam. Dharma, the definition of dharma only is that what Krishna has said. What God says, Bhagavad Pranitam, whatever God has said, that is dharma. So therefore, if the only purpose of my life is to please Krishna and the devotees of Krishna, that is the perfect solution. Everything else is the patch-up solution. So I would end today's discussion by giving the definition of that perfect solution, which is verse number 18.78. Yatra Yogeshwaraha Krishno, Yatra Partho Dhanurdharaha, Tatra Shri Vijayo Bhutir Dhruvanetir Matir Mama. This is the practical tip of the day, which if you implement from today only, your life will become happy. What is that? Wherever there is Krishna, the master of all mystics, and wherever there is Arjuna, the supreme archer, there will also be opulence, victory, extraordinary power, and morality. This is my opinion. So we have to depend on Krishna. Actually, dependence on Krishna is the ultimate independence. This is something for your notebook. Dependence on Krishna is the ultimate independence. And we have to depend on the Lord, and we have to also depend on the devotees of the Lord. This is ultimate independence. So if I can just make my home a very nice environment where Krishna and his devotees can come, if I can just make Krishna as the center of my life instead of having the Duryodhana or the Ravan mentality, and if I can just have the association of selfless, pure-hearted, unmotivated devotees of Krishna in my life, then I will have opulence, victory, extraordinary power, and morality. Any amount of expertise and organization cannot guarantee opulence, victory, extraordinary power, and morality. However, simply the association of Krishna and the devotees of Krishna, and my endeavor to create a favorable environment in my house and in my life, to have Krishna and the devotees of Krishna in my life, ensures opulence, victory, extraordinary power, and morality. And this is the beginning of our spiritual life. And this is the perfect solution. This solution of having Krishna and the devotees of Krishna in our life, this is one single solution, which is a master stroke of our life. Simply, if we play this one single master stroke, all the problems will be solved. We'll never have to deal with any other patch-up solution. We'll have just one perfect solution, which solves all the problems of life. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. I would like to conclude this session by just reminding you the various aspects of various yugas I will say and repeat this in every session so that it really goes into your heart and mind. Krityadhyayato Vishnum Tretayam Yajito Makhaihi Dvapare Paricharyayam Kalau Tadhari Kirtana. Whatever result was obtained in Satyuga by meditating on Vishnu, in Treta Yuga by performing sacrifices, and in Dwapar Yuga by serving the Lord's lotus feet, can be obtained in Kali Yuga simply by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Srimad Bhagavatam, 12th canto, chapter 3, shloka 52. And something from Kali Santaran Upanishad. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Iti Shodashakam Nama Kali Kalmashanashanam Natah Parataropaya Sarva Vedeshu Drishyate. These 16 names composed of the 32 syllables are the only means to counteract the evil effects of Kali Yuga. In all the Vedas, it is seen that to cross the ocean of nescience, there is no alternative to chanting the holy name. And what are these holy names? These 16 names? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. That brings us to the end of this discussion. Now I will stop and I will take some questions. If there are any questions or comments, they are welcome. You can either I will open the chat box. Of course, see, even before I open, in this session, we will not be able to take all the questions. The Friday session is an exclusive Q&A session. Many people ask questions, but they don't come on the session. That is not good. So therefore, in the last Friday, we entertained only those questions which were asked by people through the form and who are also there in the session. So we took only those questions. So if you have any questions which are not answered in these sessions, you can make a point to attend it in the Friday, get it answered in the Friday sessions. However, we have 15 minutes time. We can take some questions now. So those who want to ask questions, you can either put it in the chat box. I will open the chat box now. I hope that it will not be flooded. Okay, the chat box is open. And some of you who are eager to ask it in person can also raise your hands and ask. So I see Premanath Sukumar. You can please unmute yourself.
Hello, Prabhuji. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay. So just a bit of confusion here. So you have mentioned Krishna always protects his devotees. And there was an instance when you were talking of him being Bhakta Vatsala. You mentioned that he was ready to even kill Bhishma. And here Bhishma was also a very good devotee of the Lord. And this is where my actual confusion arises. How are we supposed to consider this?
Yes. On the material bodily platform, killing is very bad, right? Mm-hmm. If somebody kills you, then that person is your enemy. But the whole Bhagavad Gita is all about you're not this body, you're the spirit soul. My karma is such that I am destined to have billions of lifetimes more and rot in this material world. I am a putana. But if Krishna is killing me by sucking the life air out of my breast, oh, then that is very bad. Krishna killed Putana. She shouldn't have done that. In fact, we should welcome death at the hands of Krishna is the best achievement possible. Did Krishna kill Bhishma, first of all? No. This was a way, Bhishma was a different kind of a devotee who was enjoying a different mellow of devotional service with Krishna, which is a little higher, which I cannot explain in today's session. Similarly, Arjuna was a different kind of devotee who was experiencing a various mellow, a different rasa with Krishna, and Krishna is the Rasa Raj. And he is acting in such a way that both these devotees are being perfectly satisfied and they are feeling that they have been reciprocated and their heart is overflooded with a ecstasy. That is called Krishna consciousness. And that is the dealing of Krishna. However, death at the hands of Krishna is very welcome. Instead of holding the hands of my children and grandsons and passing stool and urine in the bed and begging to the doctor, please save me. It is better to think of Krishna and be killed by Krishna and go back home, back to Godhead. No more birth, no more disease, no more old age, and no more death. First of all, we are not fortunate enough also to be killed by Krishna. If I'm fortunate enough to be killed by Krishna, then that is the greatest fortune. And who was this Bhishma? When Bhishma was quitting his body, Krishna was personally present in front of him. And he was looking at the lotus face of Krishna and quitting his body. So don't be confused. It's, of course, anyone will be confused. It is very difficult to understand the pastimes of Krishna. But yes, good that you asked this question. This act of Krishna was just a display, an inconceivable display of his Bhaktvatsal nature, where although he's trying to kill Bhishma, but Bhishma's heart is being flooded with ecstasy seeing Krishna like that, because Bhishma had a desire to force Krishna to pick up a weapon. So Krishna was actually fulfilling the desire of Bhishma. Look at it in that way. Don't look at it that Krishna was trying to kill. And killing is, what is killing? Just read the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita and you'll understand. There's no, killing means what? The soul can never be killed. I hope this answers your question.
Very much, yes. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. I will take one question from the chat. One chat, one hand, one chat, one hand. That's it. Chanakya Patel is asking, what is the definition of organization? This is a very, very open-ended question. I don't have the standard dictionary definition of organization. But from the perspective of Bhagavad Gita, I can answer this question. Aligning my desires, aligning my activities in tune with Krishna's desires is called organization. And anything which is not in tune with Krishna's desires is called bad organization. My whole life is meant to organize myself so that I can please Krishna and please the devotees of Krishna. That is called organization. And everything else is not organization. That is the definition from Bhagavad Gita perspective. If you're looking for the dictionary definition, I don't know it. You can search it up. Okay. Chanakya Patel, can you please ask your question? You can unmute yourself. Can you also turn on your video? We can get your darshan.
Yeah. Hello, sir. So I am Chanakya Patel. So expertise and organization. Actually, I was not looking for a definition based on the dictionary. I was just looking for a definition based on the spiritual and Bhagavad Gita's point of view. So regular chanting, cleanliness, positive vibrations, chanting the name of the Lord itself creates a positive vibration. So how could we differentiate organization as a definition from a Bhagavad Gita and any other aspects coming other than that, like expertise, organization, making home your temple? So if you organize the things, everything comes into it, right? So this is little bit of confusion what I had. That's the reason why I asked about this question.
Okay. So in this context, expertise and organization means everything which Duryodhan did. He identified the right people. He offered the right bait. He was very positive minded. He was keeping everybody together, a perfect diplomat, a perfect politician. On paper, he was the winner. But the missing point was he was not a devotee. He did not have the association of devotees. And he was not spiritually inclined. So whatever we do without keeping Krishna in the center may be called as material organization. And that is not ensuring a success. However, when Krishna is in the center, everything falls in place automatically. And that is called spiritual organization. Does this answer your question? Oh, 1 second, I'll unmute you.
Yes, thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, one question again from the chat box. It's overflooded. What are the qualities of the true devotees of Krishna? Sometimes we come across people who make us understand Krishna only from their viewpoint. This is from Bhaswati Das. Good question. In the Nectar of Devotion, there are 26 qualities of a devotee which are mentioned, which I'm not going to discuss today. I will just touch upon some of the qualities. A devotee of Krishna is called as a sadhu. Generally, people feel one who has a beard and one who is like mad, he's sadhu. No, but the definition of sadhu is titikshavaha karunikaha suhridaha sarvadehinam ajat shatravaha shantaha sadhava sadhu bhushanaha. Titikshava, a devotee of Krishna is very tolerant. Karunikaha, he is very merciful. He is paradukha dukhi. Suhridaha, sarvadehinam. He is the best well-wisher of everybody, not just of human beings. He is the best well-wisher of that chicken also, that egg also, that meat also, that fish also. He is the best well-wisher of cows also, birds also, everybody. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. Suhrida sarvadehinam. That means he's not on the bodily platform. He doesn't say, oh, you are an Indian, I'll favor you. You are Australian, I'll not favor you. No. Sarvadehinam. Whoever has a body, that means every spirit soul, whether it is a plant, or whether it is a demigod, or whether it is a microbe, he is a well-wisher of them. Suhrida, best well-wisher. Ajata Shatravaha. He has no enemies. Meaning to say, like Maharaj Yudhishthira was called Ajat-Shatru, but Duryodhan used to consider him as his enemy. But Maharaj Yudhishthira would not consider Duryodhan as his enemy. That means a devotee of Krishna does not have duality in his vision or in his heart or mind or state of existence. He does not consider anybody as his enemy. Ajat Shatrava, Shantaha. He is very peaceful. His senses are controlled. He is a Goswami. He has controlled the urge to speak, the demands of the mind, the urges of the anger, and the urges of the tongue, belly, and genitals. He has completely controlled it. Shanta. Sadhava sadhu bhushana. And his life is very sublime because he is living by the injunctions of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. Everything which he does, he verifies with Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. That's why his life is sublime. So these are some of the characteristics of a devotee. Titikshavaha karunikaha suhridaha sarvadehinam ajat shatravaha shanta sadhava sadhu bhushan. And of course, just like the Lord can be glorified unlimitedly, the devotees of the Lord can also be glorified unlimitedly. But in brief, I have just told you the qualities of a devotee. Sohan Aditya Chitti, can you please ask your question? Sohan Aditya Chitti.
Are we supposed to leave now?
Sohan Aditya Chitti, can you please ask your question?
Are we supposed to leave now?
Your question is, are we supposed to leave?
Now.
Yeah, if you want, you can leave.
Okay.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Good question, easy question. Okay, next question, one more question from the chat. Little lengthy question, but I think I will take it. And this question is from Kiran. Hare Krishna, I was once asked Bhagavad Gita comes through whom? And then I realized it wasn't Krishna, it was Sanjaya. I felt kind of backed. How can I come to terms to go ahead with my devotion without seriously focusing it on it was recited by Sanjaya? See, Sanjaya has been blessed by Vyasdev that he can see whatever is happening in Kurukshetra from millions of miles away in the spiritual television of his heart. There are many instances in the Vedic scriptures where such an event has happened. And Sanjaya has been, by the mercy of Vedavyas, is expertly and exactly and precisely reciting what he's seeing and what he's hearing. But ultimately, that what he's saying and hearing, actually Vedavyas is writing down. In the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, you will see that when Krishna displays his Virat Rupa, it is not only Arjuna who saw it. Anybody and everybody who was spiritually awake in the various planetary systems saw it. And Ved Vyas, wherever he was seeing it, hearing it, and he was noting down. So the Vedic scriptures work like this. For example, Srimad Bhagavatam. Just like in the High Court or in the Supreme Court, whenever a lawyer has to give some argument, he bases his argument on the previous judgments or the previous arguments given in some previous judgment. And those previous citations make the case stronger. So similarly, in Srimad Bhagavatam, we find that when Shukdev Goswami is talking to Maharaj Parikshit, he quotes a conversation between Maitreya and Vidura, who are authorities. And amongst the thousands of sages who are sitting and hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam being recited by Shukdev Goswami, one of them is Suta Goswami. Suta Goswami later goes on, after some years, recites it to the sages at Naimisharanya, headed by Shaunakadi Rishis. So what is Srimad Bhagavatam? Srimad Bhagavatam is a conversation inside a conversation inside a conversation. So that's the style in which the Vedic literature exists. Similarly, this Bhagavad Gita is essentially a part of Mahabharata. And in Mahabharata, there are various people who are talking. And one section of Mahabharata is called as Gitopanishad, or the Bhagavad Gita, which is presented as a conversation. And if you carefully see, my dear Kiran, you will not find Sanjaya Uvacha being told at all places. It is Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, Krishna who is saying it. Arjuna is speaking, Krishna is speaking, Dhritarashtra is speaking. If you make a percentage analysis, the number of verses spoken by Sanjaya, number of verses spoken by Krishna, number of verses spoken by Arjuna, and number of verses spoken by Dhritarashtra, you will find Dhritarashtra and Sanjaya, they are in single-digit percentage. But Krishna is maximum, and Arjuna is next. So actually, it is a conversation. If this conversation was told to you by Ved Vyas, then you would have again probably said that, oh, it's not coming from Krishna, it is coming from Ved Vyas. No. This is coming from devotees who are presenting it as it is through the agency of Ved Vyas, through the agency of Sanjaya. But essentially, it is Shri Bhagavan Vacha. Anybody else who's speaking in this Bhagavad Gita or any other Vedic literature, Ved Vyas, who's the author of all Vedic literatures, never says Shri Bhagavan Vacha. But when Krishna is speaking, he's saying Shri Bhagavan Vacha. So you should rest assured that this is coming from Krishna. I hope this answers your question. Last question I will take from Shamita Sai. You can please ask your question, Shamita Sai.
Sir?
You can also turn on your video so that I can see you.
Okay, sir. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Sir, I have a doubt that why Krishna give even mukti to people who are so bad?
Krishna is the supreme independent person. There are two aspects to this, Shamita. Number one, Krishna is Swarat. He is completely independent. See, you and me and everybody in this material world is answerable to someone or the other. But Krishna is not answerable to anybody. And he can do whatever he likes. He can lift the Govardhan whenever he wants. He can fight a battle whenever he wants. He can leave a battle whenever he wants. So he is supreme independent personality of Godhead. That is how God is. He does whatever he wants. We can't question him. And second thing which we have to understand, Shamita, the super intelligence of God cannot be understood by our tiny brain. We cannot really understand why Krishna does what he does, but we can be fully assured that whatever he does, it has a very good reason. But we are servants of Krishna. We should not demand reasons from Krishna. Oh, why you lifted Govardhan? Oh, why you killed Putana? Oh, why you killed Bakasura? Oh, why you got killed Jarasandha? Oh, why you organized Kurukshetra? A devotee simply has full faith that Krishna is my best well-wishing friend. Suhridam sarva bhutanam. Gyatva mam shantim rakshati. So anybody who understands that Krishna is the enjoyer of all sacrifices, Krishna is the owner of all spiritual and material worlds. He is the supreme controlling deity of all the demigods. And although Krishna is so great, he is my best well-wishing friend. When someone understands this point, then they become very peaceful with whatever Krishna does. So 2 points again. Krishna is supremely independent. He can do whatever he wants. He's God. Number 2, our tiny brains are not competent enough to understand what Krishna does and why he does. Another aspect. Krishna is very merciful. Whether a good person approaches him or whether a bad person approaches him, he is all good. Whether Arjuna approaches him or whether Putana approaches him, he is all good. Where else will you find such a master who gives a she-demon like Putana, who puts poison on her breast and comes to kill Krishna? Suppose if somebody comes to kill you, Shramita, what you'll do? You'll put that person in the police custody. But look at Krishna, his merciful nature. He's ready to ignore everything, every bad quality in everybody. And he just looks at one good point. That here is a person who has come to feed me as a mother. I am ready to ignore 50,000 bad qualities in her, but there is one good quality in her. She wants to serve me. So therefore, because of that one good quality, I will give her everything. I will give myself to her. That is the nature of Krishna, by the way. Aho bakiyam stanakala kutam jigham sayapa payayapyas apyasadvi lebhe gatim dhatrim kwachitam tatonyam kamva dayalum sharanam vrajena. The scriptures say, where can I find a more merciful master? Kamva dayalum sharanam vrajena. Who is the other person whose shelter should I take other than Krishna? Because Krishna is the most merciful. Karuna Sindhu. That's why I start every session with this verse. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu, Dina Bandhu Jagatpate, Gopesha Gopika Kanta, Radha Kanta Namostute. So this is the nature of Krishna Shanta. Whether someone does good to him or whether someone does bad to him, he only offers benedictions and he only does good to them. I hope this answers your question.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Your question was very, very nice. I'm very happy that you are attending these sessions. Okay, so with that, we will conclude today's discussion. Or maybe I'll take one more question from the chat book. Which author's Bhagavad Gita should I buy? You should read the Bhagavad Gita as it is. Can you give me the Bhagavad Gita as it is from here? I'll just show it to everybody. Yeah, put it up. Thank you, Kushal. This is the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita as it is. Authored by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya of ISKCON. Why is it called as it is? I really focus on this term, as it is, because it is presented as it is. Every other Bhagavad Gita, which I have read as a teacher, I can tell you, there are some personal motivation, personal interpretations, which are simply misguiding the public. But this is as it is. So please have a copy of Bhagavad Gita as it is. Go to your nearest ISKCON center or temple, pick up a copy of Bhagavad Gita as it is, or else I can give you a link. You can buy it from our temple only, and we will use the Indian Post to send it to you. Okay. There are so many questions in the chat box, which I really can't take. Okay. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. See you on Friday. If you feel that your questions couldn't be answered today, then you can please come on the Friday session and we can answer your questions there. Or else see you in the next session on Sunday with a different topic covering different aspects of Bhagavad Gita. Until then, please chant Hare Krishna and be happy. If you are coming to these sessions, and if you are not chanting Hare Krishna, then the benefit will not be much. However, if you are chanting Hare Krishna, then in a very short span of time, Kale Nati Dirghena, Bhagavan Rishite Hridihi. If you are chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, at least 108 times in a day, which takes 7 minutes only. And if you're attending these sessions, then very soon, you will become God realized. Kale Nati Dirghena Bhagavan Rishite Hridihi. You will experience the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna in the core of your heart. Right now, in the core of our heart, there is a forest fire of material existence, full of embarrassment and abominable circumstances, not favorable for a spirit soul. If we chant Hare Krishna, if we take shelter of the Bhagavad Gita, associate with devotees in these sessions, then that forest fire of material existence will be replaced by an ocean of happiness which is ever increasing. And then you will understand that spiritual life means where every word is a song and every step is a dance. Thank you very much. Please chant Hare Krishna and be happy. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama.